Hey guys, this is Remy. This is episode 4 of our Nima and Remy Steadiocast. Today we're going to talk about House of Card, in particular season
House of
4.
Cards, not just card.
Really?
Yeah, it's multiple.
It's not just one card?
It's a whole deck of them, actually.
But first, we are going to talk about last week's podcast, which was about Batman versus Superman, which we recorded right after seeing the show. No, it's a movie. And we're going to touch up on that really quick. And we're also going to talk about next podcast, which is going to be a movie called
Upstream Color.
All right.
My brother is really excited for us to do that episode.
He likes the movie?
He loves the movie.
Again, I know the stars on Netflix don't mean anything, but I was going to watch it and I was like, 2 or 2.5 stars. I'm like, all right.
I think this might be, as far as like me knowing what kind of movies you've watched or what kind of movies I've made you watch, I think this might be the most like independent artsy movie. Like it's pretty small production. I just noticed this little map of the world you have in this room. Yeah. I haven't seen it before. It's nice.
Pretty cool. Yeah, Syrup made it.
It's really nice. So here's the thing. I've been texting you like all week because all of a sudden I feel like I have a lot more to say about Batman. The more I think about it, the more I like it. And honestly, I would even go as far as saying the vision of what Zack Snyder wanted to do with that movie, Batman versus Superman, I would give it a 10. I totally changed my mind.
I like the fact that he's taking the whole thing in a different place. Like he's starting a new thing, right? I mean,
He is.
The Superman movie came out first. That was his own thing, but then it picked up with Batman, and I thought about the title, Dawn of Justice.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the Dawn of the Justice League. Yeah.
Then it's going to be Justice League.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited. Now I'm on board because I've been thinking about my mind's been going everywhere, and I've been trying to read the reviews, and like Kevin Smith did a couple of reviews, and they're hilarious. And I'm also I read theories online, which by the way, you were correct. That second dream, it was Flash. As far as I know, it was Flash that was speaking to Batman, like reaching out to him.
He does have he has some kind of suit on.
I think it's a suit. It's his Flash suit.
It looked like robotic almost a little bit. But
yeah,
anyways.
like his arms did and stuff. Yeah, you're right. Like the gloves. So God, I don't want to. First things first, yes, that was Flash. And the theories is that like all those dreams, aside from the beginning dream, which was him remembering his childhood or what he remembers of it, those weren't exactly dreams. They were his mind connecting to a parallel universe.
Where do you hear that?
That was just me reading it online because apparently that does exist in this DC universe.
All right. And
one of the things that I read is, God, who was the big guy? Darkseid. Darkseid was written before Thanos or Taros, whatever the Marvel version of the big evil guy was. And it actually inspired that one. And Marvel is more of a childish, more of a youth-driven series as opposed to DC's, which is darker. And so that's the thing. He's connecting to a possible parallel universe in those dream sequences, which explains the Flash bit right after that more, because that apparently, I hope that connects to what they do in the Justice League. And
so is it not a premonition then?
No, from what I'm understanding and from what the theories are saying, that actually is happening. Like it's Flash through some sort of whatever story.
Oh, he's able to reach. He's able to reach out to Batman.
Correct.
From the future.
From the future,
saying, "Hey, watch out! Lois is the key."
It's Lois is the key. But then your phone's ringing. You don't need to take that, do you?
No.
Okay, so one of the things that I was reading online, which I didn't pick up because the sound was kind of muffled when Flash was talking to Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
He says, like when he's saying it's Lois, and he asks somebody else, "Dude, we come too soon. I think we came too soon." Yeah, so that's really cool. I love the way they did that.
I wish that made that dialogue more like
more understandable, right? So here's my theory about that, and this is why I'm willing to even give the movie a 10 because, dude, here's the thing: Zack Snyder, from what I understand, if the version that's going to be released in a couple months, the rated R version, is going to be 3.5 hours long, if not more.
Wait, there's going to be a rated R version?
Yeah, it's his version. It's his directed edition. So what I'm understanding is that the studio required some cuts to be made to bring the movie back down to a certain length and make it PG-13 and all those things. So here's the first thing that's really interesting. You know how the reviews, they're all pretty much saying the same thing we did. Like it's certain things they didn't like they didn't like the fact that all of a sudden closer to the end, Lex seems like much more crazy than he does even at the beginning, to the point that they don't even explain why he's that nuts.
I don't think so. I think he's just nuts.
Well, no, he goes to a
From the
certain
beginning.
crazy level of nuts. Like he's nuts, like he's interesting nuts, but then he goes crazy. And there's something happens in the story that they cut. And smartly so, which I wish they would have kept it in the movie. Warner Brothers actually released one of the deleted scenes. And it's insanely important. Like it covers a whole portion of why Lex is that insane. It's the
Maybe that was some bad decision from an executive.
I think that's all it is. So that's why I'm actually looking forward to the 3.5 hour version because I feel like it's going to connect a lot more dots and it's going to make more sense because in that deleted scene, it's showing like it's a SWAT team that goes into that spaceship that Lex gets access to, right? You know how he goes in there and he's making
before or after he goes in?
That's after he goes in.
Okay.
So you know how he goes in to make death something, whatever the thing was.
Yeah,
the monster.
Doomsday, yeah.
So when he's connecting to the spaceship, that scene, the deleted scene, is a SWAT team coming in. I don't know if they're coming in to arrest Lex or whatever they're coming in, but they come in and they interrupt Lex either connecting with Darkseid or connecting or...
You mean Doomsday?
No, Darkseid.
Oh.
Yeah. Dude, it's really important. Like it's insanely important that they cut that.
Oh, that's why at the end he's like...
Yeah, he knows about it.
Yeah.
Or the idea is it's the ship teaching Lex about Darkseid. But either way, they literally walk into Lex in front of what looks like to be Darkseid, and Darkseid is teaching him about even that little cube.
Yeah.
Because remember when they cut to the 3 or 4 metahumans, and one of them is that cyborg guy that's on the wall, and there's a little cube in front of him that like starts moving and starts. They also, I guess, were trying to explain that to Lex. So these are really important plot points that the studio just cut.
Well, they had to, you know. So they know it's coming later. Maybe we should review the 3-hour long movie.
Well, I don't know if it will require a full review, but we should probably see it and touch base on it.
I still think that your idea or your theory that the Joker is Robin. It just makes sense.
I think so too.
I think it's cool if he takes it there. I think it's a complete change, right? I mean, does this in any of the older Batman and Robin stories? Does he ever become the Joker?
There's a lot of connections, yeah. From what I understand, in the cartoons, which I might actually start watching some of the anime because I've heard a lot of them are really good.
Yeah.
I think there's a connection between Joker and Robin. Like maybe Joker corrupts Robin's mind, or maybe Robin starts feeling sorry for him. There's different ways of they can do it, but there is some sort of a connection. The thing is, the movie that's coming out after this, which is Suicide Squad, is not made by Zack Snyder because Zack Snyder is literally moving on directly to Justice League.
Is someone okay? All right, so whoever's in charge of making that movie, are they gonna
follow his story? Yeah, they are. They, I think what I was reading, him and his wife are huge producers now, Zack Snyder and his wife, and they might be even responsible, like Warner Brothers might have put him in charge of making this whole DC Universe movie.
The story.
Yeah. So
that's huge.
So if he's involved, I hope he carries on the story. But if I'm not mistaken, they are literally going to start shooting Justice League like this week.
Cool.
Like they've moved on immediately to start making that. So I'm pretty excited. And I made a note here for Sucker Punch because Sucker Punch was one of the last movies that he made, if not before this whole superhero thing. It might have been the previous one that he made. And it was almost like universally hated because it's different. It's almost in a way that I wouldn't call it a musical, but it's heavily driven by music and it's strange.
Like, do they sing like an Indian movie?
No, it basically the way a lot of the movie works is that one of the girls in the movie, when she starts listening to music, she's dancing for these creepy guys. But when she starts listening to music, the movie cuts to her imagination and what's happening in that imagination. It's incredible. The visuals are amazing.
I'll check that out.
But it's one of those movies that was hated, but the more people watch it, the more they understand what he was trying to do with it, and it becomes really deep. So I'm wondering if that's going to happen with Batman versus
Maybe
Superman.
he's just not that good yet at doing that.
He probably is because his movies turn out to be really long and really confusing, and the message that he tries to convey to people, he almost never carries over until like a year down the line. Like 300 was a cheesy movie. It didn't have a deep message.
Oh, he made 300?
Yeah, he made 300. It was a cheesy movie. It was like a propaganda, like an old Greek propaganda story. So it doesn't require a deep message. But once he starts making his own things like Watchmen, which is universally like everybody thinks it's the best comic book movie ever made because
is Watchmen like where is that from?
Watchmen is probably, I think, DC, but it's really old. It's a graphic novel. It's pretty violent. It's very mature. I would say it's above my head because it things that they tackle in that movie, like space and time travel.
That's
and
cool. I love that stuff.
It's a lot, but it's really long. It's really mature. So he makes really weird things, and I feel like he makes them in a way that he likes it, but the audience doesn't always pick up on the message that he wants to give, which is kind of lost. But
either the audience is not that smart, or he's just way too complicated.
I think that might be that. Like, but I also found out that Superman is definitely alive, not because of the whole soil thing, but apparently this is.
Well, Justice
This
League
matches the comic book pretty well.
Like, cool.
God, what was the monster's name again? I keep forgetting.
Doomsday.
Doomsday. When in a comic book, Doomsday and Superman do kill each other.
Yeah.
And Superman is reborn through the gene system, the DNA gene systems that the people from Krypton have. But I think in this story, they're just going to skip that whole thing and just say he was alive, like he was able to get regenerated. Yeah. But so he will be back.
You know what I was thinking of? Like the whole fight scene where Wonder Woman actually arrives. Batman knows about her, but Superman's probably like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah. But he's at the same time, he's like, I got bigger things to worry about.
Yeah, it's like, let's kill this guy and then we'll figure it out. Oh, damn, I'm dead.
Wonder Woman. Like, aside from the whole scampy outfit thing, which is fine, whatever, they need to sell. It needs to sell action figures and all those things. Man, she's becoming my favorite character. And
you're falling in love.
No, not even that. The theme song for Wonder Woman, which
is super heroic.
It's heroic. It's incredible. It's badass. It's the most memorable song that I can remember from the whole thing. It's like electronic guitar driven. It's so badass. It's incredible.
Can't wait for that.
So I think the music was composed by Junkie XL and maybe Hans Zimmer. I'm not sure about the Hans Zimmer part, but it was incredible.
So moving on.
Yes.
Upstream Color.
Yeah.
Next week again. I'm gonna watch it probably in the next few days. See what happens.
You're feeling like you may not like it, right?
No, it's okay. I always like movies, whatever I'm watching, especially the movies that you recommend. I always like them.
This is different.
You get a 97% success rate.
So we'll see. This might be falling at 3%, but this was a movie that there was a period of time that my brother and I found a couple of independent movies that were really good. There was Primer and Ink. They were both really cheap movies, like almost to the point of cheesy, but Primer was this guy's first movie and it was incredible. It was about time travel, and Ink was another like imaginative movie. So when the second movies of each director came out, this was one of them, and it's pretty awesome. It's very unique, but it's pretty awesome.
Sweet bre.
What are we doing? What's the episode after that?
Cereal.
Yes. That
So
would be.
I like Captain Crunch, but I
like Cocoa Puffs.
All kinds of good cereals.
Anything chocolate related.
I love chocolate cereal. Yeah, totally.
So tune in for all different kinds of cereal. We'll go over. No, it will be about the podcast, but we'll see how that goes, because that's going to be a different way of doing it, because we're going to be talking about a podcast, and you've never listened to it. You've never listened to any of the cereal.
No, I haven't. Yeah. So I'm going to be the one asking questions on that one. So House of Cards.
Yes.
I just rewatched the first episode of the first season, and it's fun. It's fun. It's like, it's not super dark in color even. The look of it is not very dark compared to the last season.
The last season.
It's not as really cold. It's showing very briefly the connection between Frank and Claire, which remains very mysterious throughout the fourth season. It's like you can tell they really have a plan together. They're working at it. We have
season one they do. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We have no idea how they end up together. We have no idea how and if they even fell in love at the beginning. They're just out there, and it starts with, Frank is hoping to get
the VP role, right?
No, not the vice president's. Something
Secretary of State role. I think
it might be that. I think it might be something a little less than that. And at the same time, Claire, his wife, is she's the top head of a water like
a nonprofit that's really
organization, and it hints that they kind of depend on each other for their career's success. And so it's nice and cool. First scene is Frank killing a dog.
Yeah.
And he just looks at the camera, and it's like,
it's a great
I've never
opening.
seen that.
Yeah.
when the main protagonist like looks at the camera and talks to the audience. Very engaging, very fun. I'm like, wow, that's what the first time around. That's what got me in. I was like, oh, this is cool. I like this actor. Let's see what happens. You can tell he's kind of dark but not evil. But it's like, okay, where is this gonna go?
Like the way they do the dark things, like even killing the dog because he's talking to the camera as he does it and stuff. They almost add a little bit of humor to something so cruel, and you almost like you don't want to
But
smirk,
it's not cruel
but you're
because he explains it. He's like, I
absolutely.
put him out of his misery.
And it explains a lot about his character. Like season 1, I would almost say it's my favorite season.
Same here.
It explains a lot. It sets the tone. David Fincher was heavily involved, even though he's still producing it. He directed a few of those episodes, and I almost feel like the show's going really dark, and they might need to make it that dark for the story. But
I don't know. The feeling I have from watching all 4 seasons and then this last one is that they don't really have a plan making this story. Maybe they do. Maybe I'm mistaken, but it doesn't seem like there's a plan. Okay, by the end of season 4. Frank is trying to get reelected a second time, and it's not going really well because his opponent is a young, charismatic guy, and at the same time, in season 1, we have to talk about that. Like he gets upset because the newly elected president doesn't follow up on his promise to Frank to give him a higher status in the government.
Yeah,
and so. He has an overnight just by the window smoking cigarettes. Claire is pissed off because it affects her, and he just calmly.
She calms him down, and they basically set a plan together.
No, he's like, I have this figured out. I have this figured out. Oh my God, I can't speak today either.
It's fine.
Yeah,
I sound awful. You can't speak.
And then it starts. He's really pissed off. He comes up with a solution. He starts he's playing a massive game of chess pretty much. And during season 1, he literally kills 2 people.
Who? Oh yeah.
Kills Zoe and I don't remember his name. The bald guy that they help. Anyways, there's a prostitute involved. Doug Stamper, which is like Frank's right-wing man.
Great
Same
character.
here. You have no idea why he's so devoted to Frank. We have no idea why, how they ended up together. But Frank wouldn't be able to do half the stuff he does without Doug. So Doug's a key character. And his character development is...
Interesting.
It's interesting. It doesn't really go anywhere. It's flat, but he's a recovering alcoholic, so he struggles with that throughout the seasons. And he ends up killing a girl in season 3. It's pretty dark. And all that is Frank's plan to rise to the top. He becomes vice president, then he becomes president. And in this last season, everything's coming back. There's people that poke into his past life and are finding things, and then... that last episode or 2, they're like, what are we going to do? Especially the last one. And at the same time, there's a terrorist threat. And
I don't know why they didn't call that terrorist group ISIS or Al Qaeda. It bugged the hell out of me.
I don't know.
If they're going for everything else to be real, why not just... But I think once he became president, which was end of season 2, right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So season 3 and season 4, he's the president.
Yeah.
And it might be meant to be that way by the writers, because he is no longer in control. Like season 1 and season 2, we're watching these power couple, like do the politics, do everything but the politics, the insanity of them trying to gain power and how they do it. It was really interesting. But season 3 and 4, maybe it was meant to be that way. Season 3 is when he's starting to lose control. He's starting to lose Claire.
Yeah.
And season 4 is more of that. And it's
Well,
tension
season 4
between them.
is more of that, but by the end of it, they're back at it. There's like my favorite scene in that whole last season is when they're sitting at their house, the White House, and Frank tells her, like, I'm terrified. This is going to come out. It's going to ruin everything. And she's the one that's like, no, we'll figure this out head on. And then that gives Frank, all of a sudden he has this idea, and then they just go for it. And that's the end of the episode, pretty much, after some gruesome...
The brutality.
Yeah, which was kind of necessary, but at the same time, it ties back to when I'm saying that I don't think they have a plan for the story.
Yeah.
I think they're just going with it.
I kind of agree.
I'm losing interest.
I am too, and that's another thing I was going to ask you about. Is
It's very dark, very cold too. By the fourth season, it's like it's not fun to watch anymore. He only talks to the audience once in that last season, I think. And when he does, though, it's like goosebumps, and you're so
get excited
happy.
again.
You're like, "Yay, he talked to me." You know?
So I agree that I feel like the show itself, I'm kind of not losing interest because I'll watch season 5. I'll be excited about season
same
5
here.
again. But I don't hear what they call the water cooler talk about House of Cards anymore. Like, people aren't excited. Like, season 1 and season 2, people were excited. They would talk about it, and they would continue.
They lost it. Season 3, they made it a love story that's going bad between Claire and Frank. They both have cheated like within the first 2 seasons on each other. We don't know if that's kind of behavior has been going on for years in their marriage. We have no idea. They keep that so mysterious.
But they
which
say
is
it's
one
kind
of
of
the
open. They allow it almost, basically.
Yeah, I guess so. But at the beginning of season 1, the first episode, going back to it after watching all 4 seasons, it's like, I don't know if they've been cheating on each other that whole time, like for years before that. Is that a normal thing for them? They keep it so mysterious, their relationship and how it works. No one knows why. It just seems like they're both power hungry, and if that's what they have to do to support each other, then that's what they'll do.
You're right. Like, the fact that they're not making it clear is also, it's a little bit annoying to me, because like by the end of season 4, I almost, like, as a viewer, didn't know if they're actually back together, like the power couple that was in season 1, or if Claire's just using the power that she's getting over him.
Yeah, I had that same feeling, and that's okay. That makes it more interesting.
Like, you don't trust her, but at the same time,
I think she's just doing this for survival. Because at that point, they're using the current terrorist events they're using that to their advantage so that they stay
fear.
above water, so they don't, like, they have a plan. They have a plan, and you can tell it's super strong, but you have no idea what it is. They have a plan to get out of the rut they're in right now with their political careers, because she's trying to be vice president now.
correct.
Which, by the way, makes no sense, because they live in the same place. They could easily die together, and then who becomes president when the vice president dies too?
It's the
Secretary?
There's a whole line of them. That's
By the way,
they're-
I've learned a lot about American politics following this show, and I hope it's not all BS. Not the whole, like, intricacy between the relationships and stuff. Who knows if that's real or not, but the hierarchy of things, how things work.
I actually missed the politics of it, because of season 1 and season 2
It was all about politics.
It was awesome. I loved it.
and murder.
And season 3 is about like a couple fighting, and then season 5 is about not season 4. Sorry, not season 5. Season 4
It's a campaign.
Is a campaign, but I would say season 4 is almost Claire's season. It's all almost about her.
Yeah, with her
Because
mom.
she's a power, she's trying to do what she wants to do, and her mom, by the way, is a great actress. But Frank is not that much in power. He's not in control that much. That's probably part of the writing. They wanted to convey that he's just trying to stay above the water, basically. But man, one of the things I was going to mention, as mediocre compared to the first couple seasons that season 4 was, but that last shot of the whole season, when they're broadcasting the decapitation of the American guy. The fact that, how you said when Frank looks at the camera, you get excited. The fact that they had Frank look at the camera and Claire look at the camera.
End, that's right.
I was
right, dude.
I was like, what? That's so awesome.
All right, so he does look at the camera once before, I think, in the season. And then, decapitation happens. They're in the war room
Situation room.
Yeah. They look at it happening live. Everybody in the world's looking at this live.
Mm-hmm.
It happens. Claire is kind of like, looking away. She can't handle it as much as Frank. Frank is almost like enjoying it.
He's saying this needs to happen.
And then he looks at the camera. What does he say? Do you remember?
He doesn't say anything. Like, that's the whole
He just
point
looks
of
at the
it.
camera.
They
and
both
then,
just look at the camera.
And then Claire holds his hand, I think, something like that. And then she looks at the camera too, and you're like, yes!
Yeah, that was an amazing way to end the show.
That was my favorite part of that. Like, I mean, because it was dragging for me all the way to that point.
I agree. I think her love story with the writer was almost not necessary for me.
Yeah, I don't know why they put that in. Maybe again, it's to show that they they're not interested in that. They're more interested in power. And
As a couple.
And now I'm like, where's this going? It's only been 4 seasons. He's president. He's definitely going to get elected again.
You think so?
Well, where's
That would be a cool
where's the
way.
show going to go?
Maybe they replace Frank with somebody else. Maybe the show ends.
Maybe the show ends right
Yeah.
there. Maybe have they signed up for a 5th season?
Yeah.
All right, so it's going to keep going with
Yeah,
them
but I'm
too.
saying after that, it might just end.
I don't think they would have started a show like this if it was not to really take it even higher up. Like, sure, I'm pretty sure he's going to become president again, but then what happens? Does he change the law so he can have a 3rd term? That's possibility number 1. Possibility number 2, he becomes something even more powerful than a president. Because by the way, season 1, it explains that he's really, really, really good with foreign affairs.
Yeah.
So maybe they planted that so that maybe he becomes a freaking dictator. Who knows?
But that's stretching us so far from reality that
yeah,
that's
but
the thing.
Again.
But if
Did they make that show in order to show the audience, hey, there's some shady things happening with politics?
I don't know.
Or not?
Well, did you ever see the original? I haven't.
No.
Yeah, so I have to maybe watch that to get an understanding of what they want to do. But like,
I'm pretty sure they only used the
name and premise of it, right?
Yeah, I don't think they used the same story. I don't think they followed the same story.
It's a British Parliament anyway. You're right. I think I noticed that during this season, like to my eye, the production quality has gone down quite a bit.
You think so?
So I assume the budget's lower, which makes me wonder if it's a financial decision by Netflix or if
Why isn't Netflix showing viewers
they don't do that. They have a bit different business model.
for anything they have? Oh, okay.
I
I
can
thought it
see
was just for this show.
No, as far as I can tell, it goes both ways. They don't have to say, for example, hey, House of Cards is losing viewers season over season. And also another really smart way that I had somebody explain it to me is that way the Netflix shows, which they have quite a few original shows now, they don't get compared to each other. Like a small, like a teen vampire show doesn't need to have as many viewers as House of Cards might, or Bloodline, or those kind of shows. They get to experiment and not worry about viewers. Because the whole point of making original content is to get more and more and more people to sign up for the subscription.
Okay.
It's not so much that, hey, are people watching every single episode? How long are they watching it for?
So what are you saying? What in the production value went down for you?
I noticed it in quite a few different places. Like, like even... but this is something silly. There was a shot that I forgot her name, the Attorney General, who's also running for president as against.
Yeah, she's in episode 1 of season 1 too. She's a key
Really?
partner of Frank's.
I barely remember. But anyway, there was a shot of her in the car, and I noticed that there's a green screen wasn't done really well. Yeah, but I also noticed that driver wasn't even looking at the road. Like,
well, they never do.
No, like shockingly, to the point that even if you're a bad driver, you would probably want to glance like 30 seconds before he does. He's just looking off in the dashboard for a very long period of time. So it's shot like that, and I noticed I would say I can't imagine if they did it in camera and it's a focus that way. I feel like there was a lot of green screen,
Really?
post shot visual effects done that didn't match up to the quality. And I also started picking up that every time there's a crowd that they want to show the crowd, they barely ever show the size of the crowd.
Yeah.
Which makes me think that they only had like 10 or 20 extras and they just put the camera in a way.
I mean,
This is Netflix's biggest show.
yeah, but they're banking on good acting, I guess.
Yeah.
If they're slacking on some other things.
Yeah, but Game of Thrones, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
That's
which is
HBO.
That's what I'm saying. If Netflix is competing with HBO.
Yeah, but Netflix is more for, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It seems like Netflix is more for like the mass populace, and HBO is more for like, I don't know.
I think
It's
they just crossed that.
HBO's always had better production, anyways, right? As
Yeah,
far
but
as
if-
their own shows.
I feel like them two are competing now. Like Netflix wants to beat not only HBO, but wants to be the way TV's viewed for the longest time. And that's why HBO, I think, almost followed suit. And now they have a plan that is completely not attached to regular cable subscription.
HBO now.
Yeah. God, what else was I going to tell you? Let me go back to that tab. I started Googling way too many things. So we touched base on Frank talking to camera. But throughout the seasons, what are your thoughts on Claire's story arc? Because I feel like she's becoming more and more main character to the point that I might even see that Frank is no longer part of the show going forward after maybe the 6th season or even maybe during the 5th season.
No, I don't think they would do that. It's like they're a team. Season 1, they're a tight team. Season 2 and 3, they're losing that. Season 4, at the end of it, they're back together as a powerful team for survival. It shows her mom, so you get a lot of why she's so cold as a person.
Yeah, because her mom's really cold.
Other than that, yeah, she doesn't really show emotions. She's really good. That's good acting right there. I think she's probably like one of the best main actors of that show.
I agree.
But again, like I like the other smaller actors because they're more interesting. They're more, the other characters are more interesting. They're more lively. They're trying to figure out what's going on.
I feel like as an actor, those roles are more fun to play as opposed to the main. And like, there's more and more tension build up between Claire and Frank, which I like, but the ambiguity, as I mentioned, I don't like that part. And before I forget, like they killed off my favorite character in the show, which makes me wonder is...
Oh, the journalist guy?
No, Meacham.
Oh, Meacham. That's right.
Yeah.
Meacham's dead.
Meacham was awesome.
Yeah, he was pretty cool.
Which makes me wonder if because they've done it a few times. They've killed off major characters before.
Yeah.
And they might be going down the route of Game of Thrones where each character you like gets killed off. So they could kill off...
The main character?
Yeah, absolutely.
To have Claire take over as a vice president, maybe?
Yeah. Because her goals, they use each other to get to the power that they want.
Yeah.
But so maybe like she was ready for him to die. Like she even said she feels nothing for him.
Yeah.
When he was dying after the assassination attempt.
Who does she say that to?
She says that to...
Oh, the writer.
The writer?
Which, by the way, is another great actor from Game of Thrones. No, not Game of Thrones. Boardwalk Empire.
I haven't seen it yet.
Boardwalk Empire is fun, but whatever. Yeah, I like that actor a lot. I think he's cool. But again, is he really necessary? Maybe they're thinking, okay, it's very not boring, but it's like very flat, and we need extra characters to make it more interesting. Because you're right, like his presence isn't really. It's just there because they need someone to write speeches, and it's also there maybe for the directors to show that they don't need that romantic connection
between Claire and Frank. You're saying, but I agree, and also I think one of the reasons that he's there, which makes me wonder if they did a good job with it or if they didn't, is to show a contrast between what Claire finds attractive in Frank as opposed to what Claire finds attractive in this writer. Because when you look at Frank versus this writer, this dude is just mellow. He's just chill. Yeah. He's like, all right, whatever. And Frank is very, on the point, get shit done. You know, the double tapping of the knuckles. Yeah. Like that's what it shows.
Where did that go?
Oh, dude, it's completely gone, isn't it?
It's gone.
Yeah.
The double tapping is gone.
Yeah, it's sad. So it shows that Claire might be getting more into bringing down to a grounded level of just enjoying somebody's company as opposed to finding power attractive. Because this dude has I feel like no power.
Out of them two, Claire and Frank, Claire is definitely the one that's like, she's got her tendency of being down to earth. And I think, if anything, the next few seasons, she's gonna get more I don't know, she's gonna show more emotions and feelings and stuff.
I agree. They keep hinting at that. They keep hinting like she regrets not having kids. Yeah. Which, by the way, of all the things, do it better. Like, I don't care about that. Like her not maybe missing having kids.
But I think that ties back to the whole mystery of their relationship.
Yeah. Why did it have kids?
I hope. What if season 5 is a flashback to before all this started? That whole season explains their story. That'd be awesome. I would love to see that.
But I think mystery might be one of the reasons they get viewers back. Is they might keep it ambiguous. Yes, but like you said,
it's become so ambiguous what their relationship is.
Yeah, to the point that the audience is lost, that they might not care anymore.
Like it's they're both power hungry, sure, but they had met somehow. Like, how did they come across each other? That's the big mystery for me. That's what I'd like to know.
Well, they mentioned it a few times about her dad not liking Frank and all those things.
The last season, see again, they started hinting at it. Mm-hmm. They started hinting at their past together as a couple. So that's cool. Maybe they're doing that slowly.
But I agree with you. I kind of want to know the backstory, even if they don't do it as a flashback. Remember how in season...
I don't want to ignore it. I want to know.
No, I agree. But I want them to maybe find a creative way of doing it, which was... I think it's season 1 or season 2. I think season 1 when Frank goes back to South Carolina. Uh-huh. And, he's brought back to his history.
That's right.
That's a cool way of doing it.
Their house with the tulips.
Like, I kind of miss things like that because it kind of makes me wonder about this versus real life of what it would be. Are you into politics? Are you would you consider yourself a political person?
A little bit.
So that's one of the things, I love West Wing because of the politics of it. I love this show because of the politics of it. I kind of want them to not go so crazy off the path of reality, because when this show first started, it was really cool because it tapped into reality every once in a while where you're wondering, oh, this is how politics is done, aside from the killing people stuff. But
well, who knows?
I don't know if they, but that would be a conspiracy, but they've kind of gone off that path. I want him to come back to the path of showing the politics of it, so I can compare that to...
Well, there's nothing to show now. He's a president. They're running a campaign to be reelected. There's no politics it's media politics. It's like that whole season was them throwing rocks at each other's campaigns. Mm-hmm. And now I feel, again, it really seems like they figured something out that we don't know. Yeah. But they're gonna... that power is back and that they're going to succeed at it. And when Claire looks at the camera, it's like, oh, yes.
You were talking about the last shot, yeah.
That's so good. Gosh, it's like, I didn't know, but it's what I was waiting for.
Yes, I completely agree.
Okay, finally, this was boring for 3 seasons. Frank hasn't looked at the camera. He does, and then Claire does, and it's like, okay, cool. I feel involved again.
But that's the thing. That's a really key way. And you explained it to me is, yes, we're getting attention again. Because that's the way that the show became famous, is by almost acknowledging and inviting the audience into the show by looking at the camera, breaking that third wall. And when they give it up, for whatever, if it's a story tool to give it up, whatever reason, I didn't like it.
I didn't like it. I wish he had kept going.
Uh-huh.
But maybe it shows that, again, that he's not in control, like you said. Maybe it's when he feels that he's in control, that's when he likes to look at the camera and say something smart.
But that's risky, though, because it's risky. Because when you give up the audience, it's super risky that maybe the audience will give up on you and just go watch something else.
I don't know.
Because you were right. Once you mentioned that, hey, yes, I'm excited to get attention again, that's totally right. Because the show drew me in by giving me attention.
Yeah, talking to you.
So when they give up on that, that's completely...
And then the show opened with Frank talking to the camera as he's killing that dog.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things I miss the way the show was first.
Even the he's sitting at his desk and someone walks in and he just completely manhandles that person.
Yeah, and then he gives you a look
and a smirk. He turns his head, gives you a smirk, comes back. He doesn't even have to say anything.
Yeah, like the rolling of the eyes that he did, all the things that gave you a chuckle or made him look powerful. He doesn't do it anymore.
That was the comical relief also. Mm-hmm. I really enjoy that. It makes me giggle. But last season was not. It was so dark, so cold.
So dark.
So a lot of it looked beautiful. The shots were really cool to me, but it's a lot of people in beautiful sceneries just standing, not doing anything, not talking to anyone. And that got boring fast that last season.
So speaking of beauty, because the show looks different now, slightly, because I think they're still following the guideline that David Fincher set with the first season, which is a lot of his style, but they've added
What else did he make?
David Fincher, he made Seven, The Zodiac Killer, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
The new one?
Yeah.
With
Daniel Craig and the other
favorite
girl.
actors. He's such a badass.
Actually, Zoe's sister is in The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
That's right.
But as far as visually, the peak of that show for me, as far as season 4, was the 3 or 4, maybe even 2 or 3 episodes that follow the assassination attempt on Frank Underwood, when he's fighting
hospital?
Death and he's dreaming.
That was pretty cool.
Those scenes were incredible.
That was pretty cool. What he's
they were weird,
yeah,
but they were incredible to look at.
Yeah,
and like I noticed, like especially in season 4, there is something with Frank putting some emphasis on his eyes in his dreams. I couldn't figure out what that means, because in the first dream, as soon as the show opens up, you know how he's dreaming that Claire and him like actually get in a brawl, they fight, and
Oh yeah, that was cool.
and one of the things that Claire does is jump on top of
Stabs
him
him. Oh,
and
it's
like
trying to-
start squeezing his eyes
That's
in.
right.
And like obviously stabs him later, and this is all dreams, so it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But later on, when the assassination attempt happens, he dreams Zoe, and Zoe gets on top. Is it Zoe?
Yeah, it's
Zoe gets on top of him like in a sexual way, but then she starts squeezing his eyes again. I don't know what that's supposed to
good
mean.
point. I don't
It
know.
means something, because they wouldn't just do that for no reason.
Well, you know, maybe it has to do with when he does wake up from his like, you know, coma surgery thing with the new liver.
Yeah.
He has a new appreciation for Claire.
Like, you know, you should see Claire for what she's done.
Yeah,
all those
maybe
things.
it's something like that.
Okay.
Because right there, one of the first things he does is tell her that, sorry, I didn't want you to be vice president. Let's do it. It's a good idea.
That's true. But I think that's one of the things that it almost made him look weak, because I kind of don't like seeing Frank regret things. Like, as far as a character, I don't want to see him weak, but I get that's
They
part
have
of
to
the
show
story.
him human. That's you know, at some point.
Which, by the way, the whole liver thing, like I've had discussions about this with other people and my girlfriend too. If a president gets shot and a president needs a liver, the president would not be on a waiting list. I can tell you that.
I know, but again, maybe Doug had to do. That's another part of the story that's gonna keep going. Doug talking to the head of the health thing. He's able to bump Frank to number 1 so he can get the first liver to be transplanted.
And somebody else dies because of it, obviously.
Exactly, and he donates five grand to that lady,
Uh-huh.
the husband, the wife of the husband who was supposed to get the transplant, and then he died because he didn't get it, and he starts the relationship with her. That's gonna come back later and bite Frank and everybody in the ass.
because
for
he's
sure.
done it before.
Yeah,
but
he's done. He keeps doing that.
does the relationship become? It does become romantic, doesn't it, with her?
Yeah, they hint at it.
Okay.
Nothing big, but again, like, I want to know more about why Doug is so, like, he's like a little puppy dog to Frank.
See,
He's like, I'll do anything.
That's
I
a
will
key
do
point.
anything. He will
Because
kill-
remember, the show opens up, and that's one of the things that I'm starting to like other characters more than I'm liking Frank
Yeah.
Underwood. The show opens up with Frank killing a dog, right? Having complete control over the dog. That dog is Doug. And like obviously the name Doug, and Doug is it's obviously one of those writing tools.
I
but
thought about this yesterday. I think eventually Frank's gonna kill Doug.
I believe it. I absolutely
Yeah.
believe it. Because he comes really close.
Or Doug is gonna want to kill himself, and Frank's gonna be like, go for it, because maybe they need him to be dead for, you know, ongoing or whatever.
Like all the things that happens to Doug and how he handles it, I'm starting to like more and more. Like him getting attached to that girl, and then him like that screwing him, and then him getting almost killed by her, and all those things like that. That's a really cool story arc as
Yeah.
opposed to everything else
Doug
in the
is
show.
one of the more interesting characters.
Yeah.
For sure. By
So
far.
I'm making notes of all the things that I want to touch base on, but we never talked about it. How did you feel about season 2 opening, which is when Zoe gets killed?
Oh, she gets killed in season 2.
Yeah.
He kills the senator
At the end of season 1, yeah.
in a like nicer way, but then when he kills Zoe, it's like, holy shit, it's brutal.
Yeah. I almost thought that was going to be a dream sequence, because I would have much rather that be a dream thing, but
Nope. And then does Claire know? Does she doesn't? But she seems to know by the end of season 4 when they realize they gonna find out.
uh-huh.
So weird, very weird.
What did you think about the guy that he's running against, the Republican, and with the British wife?
Yeah, I wonder if that's allowed.
To have a British wife?
If you're running for president.
Yes. The rules apply to you, not your wife.
Anyways, he's cool. I mean, again, I feel like he's not real enough looking.
I agree. He doesn't look like a politician, right?
Yeah, they had to. Well, he does. He seems like a powerful guy, but again, he's like too good looking and this and that. And I'm not saying that couldn't happen in real life, but they really casted someone that they they obviously wanted that couple and their family life to look like they're a definite threat to Frank.
They're young, they're charismatic, yeah.
They're using like the media a lot.
Social media, and have you seen the other show that he was in? The Killing? I recommend you watching that show. It's also on Netflix. It's a show that Netflix bought after
Is that
the
a
first
thriller?
It is a thriller.
I'm not a fan of
It's
thrillers.
it's part of a series that obviously I don't know if we should ever talk about it because it's an international series almost that they all have the same theme. They're almost all shot similarly. BBC has quite a few of them. I think there's a few of them that are in the Dutch part of Europe, and obviously America has The Killing, and I think one more that's all detective shows. Like they're really cool detective shows, and he's in it, and his character is kind of a gangster cop. You would like it because he's incredible in it, and like his character doesn't. His acting ability doesn't really translate into this.
Really?
But I do like the parts. Like, I don't think he looks like a politician. I think a lot of things that they do with him in the story doesn't make sense. But when he shows his power, when he shows that he could be just as bad as Frank Underwood, I do like that.
Yeah.
Like when he tells Frank that his past might be a lie, I thought that was really cool.
What part is that? Wait.
When he's talking about him being a hero and doing all those things,
Yeah.
he hints at, that may have never happened.
One of my other favorite scenes is when they're doing the negotiating for the first time with the hostage situation, where both Frank and him are talking to the guys, and the second time around, Frank is just like, "No, you're not going to talk to the senator. You're going to talk to me.
Yeah,
this is my demands.
Yeah,
click." That's bold.
What did you think? You remember the first time they talk, and the senator has like a really emotional. I wouldn't call it a breakdown, but an emotional moment with the hostage takers where he confesses that he regrets killing those people and he wakes them up. I couldn't pick up if the writers meant that to be him, faking it, like giving a fake emotional reaction, or does he actually feel that way?
No, he was in the war.
So you think he actually feels that way? Okay.
Yeah, no, I think it was well done. Thing he talked about it because they were about to kill someone or something. I don't know. It was just kind of it was not it that season missed some kind of edge. The only thing I got was at the end when Claire looks at the camera again. Like that was new. The rest of it, it's like to be expected. I
agree.
The rest of that season was like, okay, this is a continuation of season 3, which was already for me like a downturn, boring.
Because season 3 was a filler season. Obviously, important things happened, like they introduced the Russian president, which I think is a great character, a fantastic actor. He comes back in the season a few times. Then he show more of him. Like maybe do even a spin-off. Do the Russian House of Cards.
Ooh,
dude! But I like the character, and I wouldn't even mind if House of Cards goes down the path of Sherlock, where once every year or once every 2 years they do, I think it's between 3 or 6 episodes, not 13 full episodes, but 3 or 6 episodes that are longer, but so they don't have to worry about filling episodes with junk, so they can do what they want to do and then move on, because that's a great
but
format.
again, I don't think House of Cards knows where it's going.
That's probably true.
I hope I'm wrong, but if I am wrong, then I hope that it's actually happening next season, what they want to do with it, because right now it's like
I've been
talking
that wrong.
so much crap today about this,
which is a great show. It's okay.
I love that show. Season 1's great, guys.
Yeah. Season 1 and 2 are great. I think season 3 and 4 are different enough that it doesn't fit our taste. Like it doesn't drastically change, but the things that happen in the story doesn't agree with you as far as what you believe the characters to be doing.
Yeah, something like that. Harder to believe. It's more confusing, more ambiguity.
Yeah,
which is probably on purpose, but who knows?
It's okay, because I don't think it's Netflix has so much content now, the original content, that they may not need House of Cards.
Well, House of Cards was just a straight up business move, right? They looked at algorithms that told them Kevin Spacey is a super hot actor right now, and this show from Britain would work really well here because people like politics and mysteries, I guess. And they made that show just because they knew they would make a lot of money from it. And
and it was a business decision, and obviously it helps people creatively because obviously now Kevin Spacey is all about this. He's happy that Netflix brought on the show. Yeah. He's happy that Netflix gave him creative freedom to do it. So I think it works.
That's right. But they're both executive producers on there.
And that's one of the things that you're saying, that you don't know if they know the story arc. I think somebody somewhere probably does. Maybe even Kevin Spacey does, since he's a producer, or even maybe, I don't know, head of creativity at Netflix. They know where they want the show to go. But because if you look at the cast and crew on Netflix, they change so much over the seasons. Like, there's only a few of them that are staying on board for the whole 40 or something episodes. The rest of them change from episode to episode, which I get. TV production works that way to get it done. But at the same time, compared to a show like Game of Thrones, where people do stay involved the whole time, like their same writers are staying on board the whole time.
Oh, you're talking about the writing crew and the people working on making the show happen?
Because I think once you change it, you lose something.
So you're saying that because it's Netflix, it's very likely that a lot of these people involved in production of the show got switched out for different people?
Oh, I think so. If you look at IMDb,
maybe that explains the different look of it, the problems with some of the production that you noticed, and even, I don't know, maybe some of the acting. I felt like Frank. I felt like Kevin Spacey was not as enthusiastic about this season maybe than compared to the first one.
They made him look older, which I don't like.
Yeah, and
I agree.
Maybe was not able to embody this character as well as in season one. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows what it could be.
No, I completely agree with you. But also, I think that's part of, I don't know why I faced away from the mic. That's part of what, it's tough to do television in a way that, for example, when David Fincher came in to do House of Cards, you can see his touch. That first season, like the episodes that he directed and the guideline that he put for the show is like perfection. Like, the visually looks amazing. The acting, the direction is incredible. But obviously that, he can't stay on board to do 40 episodes and direct it that way and have that much involvement. And you can see when a talent like that is no longer involved, the quality of the show kind of goes down. Like, it's not horrible, but it doesn't have that perfect touch. Like, I think HBO had, what was the show that the police HBO show that it's so different between season one and True Detectives?
Oh yeah, completely different. Yeah,
it's different, but it's a great show. The director was heavily involved. The cinematographer was heavily involved. These are great talents. And actually, they came on board. Netflix bought their movie, which if you haven't seen, visually and
what movie?
It's called Beast of No Nation.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's made by the cinematographer and the director of True Detective.
Both of them? Is it the same people who made
season
both
one.
season?
I think
season one was like my fave.
It's incredible. And like, you can see when somebody that creative has control over something, you can see the touch. You can see the perfection in it.
Yeah, it brings it to the next level.
Yeah, I feel like the show of House of Cards is losing that, which is normal for television shows to lose it because it's tough to do 13, 12, 21, whatever number of episodes. But I don't think Game of Thrones is losing it yet. Game of Thrones has their shit together.
It's HBO.
Dude, they're existing in the same universe, like HBO, Netflix, Crackle, Amazon.
But Game of Thrones, it's like you got like quite a few different production crews around different places.
That's true.
Making different stories happen. So no one gets too bored making this. And maybe that's why they're able to keep making it so interesting.
And the story is coming from one guy as opposed to a writing team. Because the story is coming from George R.R. Martin. And then stuff. I think they're changing stuff based on his approval. Like I think he's giving guidance because it's based on the books. And right now they've passed to the point that the books haven't been written yet. So I think they're getting it from him. But it's also the same writers that have been on board.
I wonder if, the show is going to go on and end, and then he's going to write the books and
it's going to be completely different.
Change everything.
I completely agree. So I don't know if we're getting to the point that we don't have anything to say, but I haven't even asked you, like, what did you think about season 4? Did you like it at all? Like, did you good, bad, hated it, loved it? Like, we haven't given we should have a rating thing. go.
Maybe
Not 6 out of 10 or anything, but
I'm curious to see what happens next.
Mm-hmm.
And by that I also mean if it keeps going the way it's been going, I'm going to lose interest completely.
I agree.
So I did not really like it that much. But I loved season 1. I loved season 1.
Mm-hmm.
But progressively, it's just started to suck for me.
I even loved season 2 because of the the ballsy decisions that they made.
Yeah, season 2 is pretty okay.
But season 3 and 4, you're right. I was the guy that was defending season 3 to people. I was like, be patient. It's a filler season. Obviously, they have big things in mind.
2 season fillers.
Yeah, and then I'm like, oh shit, maybe they don't really.
But the fact that Claire gets to Frank's level and
looks at the camera.
And looks at the camera.
Dude, that tiny thing is so important.
Yeah. I wonder if it's someone who's like, hey, it'd be cool if you look at the camera. And then they did it. Who knows? Like, maybe it was written that day of filming.
Now that we're talking about it, do you think it was part of the writing or part of the direction of the show to take that connection that Frank Underwood has with the audience, limit it, make it smaller,
Yeah,
so you don't even notice it. So when the last episode, it happens with both of them, there's no way to miss it. You're like,
exactly.
Oh shit.
Yeah. I think they made that on purpose, but would they really bank on like 2-3 seasons of gradually taking that off just for to have that reaction at the end of season 4?
I don't think so, but I think
so.
It's a nice coincidence because I think if you and I we disagree on a lot of things, we have different tastes on a lot of things. If we both picked up the same thing and had the same reaction to it, I'm assuming most people had the same exact reaction.
So maybe it was written that way.
I agree.
If it is, then props to them. And I just hope they bring that back or something similar. I don't want to say shock value because the end of season 4 between the assassination on live TV and the last scene with them two looking at the camera, that was great shock value, but that was it. That was the only shock thing of season 4. Like,
do you want shock?
I want maybe not. Maybe shock is the wrong word, but
no. Do you want
something
I
new?
think I get it.
Something new, like some like sour Skittles thrown in my face, something like that. Yeah. Season 1 had that. Season 4 doesn't. The last end of season 4 did. And I hope they bring stuff like that back. It doesn't have to be the look to the camera and to the audience.
Yeah.
But it has to be something to make me giggle and make me go like, oh,
Do you think television's come to a point that we need to be shocked? We need to be.
Yeah, it's been going like that way for a while now, dude.
I think you're right because I think my favorite TV show probably is West Wing, and it didn't have that too much, but when it did have it absolutely did grab. Like when the president gets the assassination attempt on the president or the cliffhangers, those kind of shocking things are absolutely what draws you in.
Yeah.
You know what we need to do, like going forward, we need to remember to keep the cultural aspect of it more important to the episode because as of this episode, I switched it. Our category is now culture and society as opposed to film and entertainment.
Nice.
So, do you have any more thoughts about House of Cards?
Not really. I think we covered most of what I want to talk about. But again, like every single episode that we record, it's like a few days later, I'm like, oh man,
you had more to say.
I wish I had brought this up.
Well, that's why we have the follow-ups at the beginning.
Yeah,
so just remember what you want to say. And if it's still valid by the next episode, bring it up.
Yeah, but I'm probably not going to watch any House of Cards until next season comes out.
I agree. Yeah. I almost started watching it again just for this podcast. But then I talked myself out of it, which I don't know if it's a good sign for House of Cards at all. Because other things, I'm like, hey, if I like it, I will watch it again and again and again and again. Yeah. So before we cut it, because I also
I want to talk about the next one.
Oh, we have other things?
Yeah.
Oh,
we already talked about Upstream Caller.
No, but before we even get to that, I was asking you, like, do you watch a lot of Netflix?
No.
So do you know what other original content Netflix has?
Not really. I'm almost pretty much I watch stuff based on your recommendations.
Okay.
I'm so busy with the rest of my life. I'm trying to accomplish a lot.
Yeah.
Getting shit done. it's very rare when I sit down and watch something. I mean, like what, 3 weeks ago, I spent like 4 days watching Sense8, and that's cool. I was like working out at the same time, just eating pizza, whatever. But I'm not the kind of guy, I'm not going to come home after work and watch something. No.
You're not?
No.
No, I'm probably
I'm
not
getting more
either.
and more excited about going to see new movies coming out. And,
Me too.
But again, I only like going to movie theater when it's a huge movie, and by huge I mean like special effects.
I agree.
Because then I can get submerged into a new thing. That's cool. But I'm not going to go to the movie theater to watch, like a drama.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because we're at the point that you can totally watch those things at home and get the same.
I would have
reaction.
loved to watch Interstellar in a movie theater. I didn't do that.
Yeah, I know. I didn't do it either.
Gosh, I love that movie.
It's great.
Yeah,
it's
it's so
fantastic. Contact, which is also like Interstellar, is great.
I think I've watched that. Is that with
Jodie Foster.
Yeah.
Who
I watched
also
that.
directs a 1 or 2 episodes of House of Cards.
Jodie Foster?
Yeah.
What?
You know who else directed like 7 episodes of this show, which I had no idea about? Robin Wright. Claire.
Yeah. Well, she's an executive producer on that show.
I had no idea she directs.
Well, they're trying things.
Which,
Good for them. Maybe it's why it's not as good now, but they're owning a skill, and hopefully it'll get better.
So you wanted to talk about
Oh, yeah.
whatever it is.
Well, we already talked about Upstream Color. I'm going to watch that. We'll do the next episode about that. Your brother's really excited because he loves that movie. I'm
It's
sure
so
a
great.
lot of nerds out there love that movie. I hope that's not a condescending term.
Nerds?
Yeah.
Nerd is not a condescending
Alright, cool.
term. I'm a nerd.
I'm a nerd. I'm probably going to like it just because of the deeper science fiction-ish thing. I don't know.
It's
Don't tell me.
I'm not going to tell you, but I want you to
No expectations.
there's a lot of whispering, I feel like, if I remember correctly. So make sure you have your audio up, and having your audio up helps because the music and the sound design is incredible.
All right.
It's in your face and it's awesome.
And then I wanted to ask you about Serial.
Yeah.
Sarah Klein? Is that the person who
I
makes
think,
it?
God, I wrote that name down without even checking. So keep talking. And
Who is she? Like, I want to know what's her background before I come in and have you guys talk about it.
Sarah Cohen, I think.
You missed
No. Yeah.
Clein? Or
No, I wrote that name wrong.
Thanks, Nima.
I know. I'm really awful. Her last name is spelled...
Anyways, I want to know where she's from.
This show came from This American Life, which is... This American Life is another show that's from NPR.
Yeah,
so
I listened to that.
This was born out of NPR. I don't know if it's still associated with NPR in any way, but I think it is... At least for the time being, we'll say it's the same creators.
She's been doing this for a while.
Yeah, and you know what? If you don't know much about investigative journalism or just pure journalism, the way it used to be and the way NPR still does it to this day, Serial is a great way of finding how to do great journalism. Because the story of season 1 and season 2 are completely different, but they're really important in a small and big kind of way. Season 1 is about a murder trial that happened 15 years ago, and this journalist trying to get to the bottom of it. And season 2 is about Bo Bergdahl, which is a huge story about an American guy who walked off a base in Afghanistan.
That's right.
And the story is impressive. People have a lot of strong emotions about both seasons. But I think for me, the most impressive thing is the job Sarah did. Like leading this whole thing, leading this investigation and making it happen, being honest with you throughout the whole thing, giving her thoughts, but trying to keep those thoughts as fair as possible. But if she's having an unfair thought, she will let you know, hey, I'm about to say this, but that's just my feeling and keep that in mind. But this is the way I feel.
Yeah, she's a pro.
In a way, in an age where we have CNN and Fox News and MSNBC, which are so like crazy to the point that you can't even trust anything they say anymore, it's nice to hear journalists do these kind of things. It's impressive. So I don't know if you're going to watch it, but we're going to talk about it. And I'm still having thoughts about what it's going to be like to have a podcast about a podcast.
Just look at the production value and like if the future of that kind of... Anyways, we'll don't worry, I'll stimulate...
I don't think it's going to be boring because Serial is really important to our culture.
That's what we're going to start talking about probably. Like I'm going to ask pertinent questions in order to stimulate that conversation with you guys.
And I want to talk about season 2, but not only you haven't even listened to season 1, nobody's listened to season 2 as far as
I'm going to see if Sarah is going to listen to it now so you guys can touch up on it.
But they're not connected at all.
Yeah, I know.
So you can switch. You know, this has nothing to do with this episode at all. You know what I'm excited to talk about like a year or two from now?
What?
Avatar.
When is that movie coming out?
I don't think they've even started filming it yet. It's going to be filmed in China, if I'm not mistaken.
Whatever. The first one is great. It's again movie. It's a movie theater movie. I don't really.
Yeah, but dude, it's James Cameron. I will watch anything James.
You know
Cameron
what I'd like? This makes me think. Like, I almost want to. I'd love to have another like conversations like these, only about like science fiction movie about space and time travel. To look at all the movies and come up to a conclusion like, yes, that's possible, or no, that's not possible.
I agree.
That'd be interesting.
That's a cool way. That's a really cool idea for a podcast to do, is to talk about the possibility of science fiction ideas that are in movies and shows and things like that.
Yeah.
I
and
agree.
then you compare it to like programs like Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah.
When you talk about, Star Talk and stuff like that. Because by the way, on that show, I finally understand how time travel is theoretically possible.
Yeah.
Like, it was a broad idea and I kind of understood, but he just put in a few words, simple words, he put it into perspective. I'm like, oh, that makes perfect sense.
It's really important to be able to explain something complex simply, and he does it really well.
He's good at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm worried because this is the first episode that we had that wasn't about a science fiction thing.
Yeah.
Like, I hope that doesn't become our niche, that we do only science fiction stuff.
Well, I'm okay with that because, I think it's easier for us to do science fiction, and maybe that's what we should focus on for a little bit. And then maybe later on, when we own our skills a little more, we can do like drama stuff.
I agree. So
because that's harder.
Yeah.
It's harder.
So I'm telling you, like, the next couple episodes are going to be tough too. Because they're going to be drastically different. And, to do sneak peeks of, shits that's coming down the line, we're going to have an episode about gaming in general and where it's at, or what we like, what we didn't like. In June something, we're going to have our episode for Warcraft. So we're trying to plan these things out in advance. So I'm pretty excited for those, but I'm excited about what we're doing going forward.
I know. This is great.
Yeah. And
remember when we met like a month ago, we're like, oh man, we always have these great conversations. We should record. We should have a podcast.
Yeah.
All right, Nima, let's make it happen. We can do that this week. Let's go watch. Have you seen Star Wars? No. All right, let's do this.
And the trajectory of us doing this thing is insane. Like, us going from a dinner to let's go see the movie, let's do a podcast about it immediately.
Let's meet every week. Let's do this.
Yeah, like to not do this at all and just have discussions every few months, to do it every week. I feel like that trajectory is amazing.
That's great. I think that's great.
I am getting absolutely sick of you, though. I'm kidding.
All right, so thanks for listening, guys. Nima, talk to them about the liking and subscribing, because you're that website person.
Yeah, so
I just show up and talk.
Yeah, our episodes are backed up on our website now, Steadio.com.
Oh, they are?
They are. And I'm going to start adding pictures to it. And my goal is that the things we talk about in each episode, because obviously they can listen to it on whatever podcast app that they like, and it's great, fantastic. Use iTunes. If you're using iTunes, like and subscribe. But if you go to the website, you'll start seeing the pictures of what we talk about, links to different stories about what we're talking about. So you can have
pictures of us occasionally, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll bring my G-string.
Oh, down the line, it's going to be video too.
I don't have one.
Go all naked. Balls out. So I'm asking you guys, if you like the show, if you want to see more, to help us get traction, like it, subscribe it, leave us comments.
I mean, gosh, the past month we got a new microphone, we got stands.
Yeah.
We're thinking of getting a room for this. We're going to get a second microphone.
I was going to say we're getting a second
I make the
microphone.
music.
Oh,
I want to make it better and better, I think.
Yes, and we're going to have... over the summer, we're going to give you guys sneak peeks of music that's actually being produced in this room that we're sitting in right now. So don't worry about it. It's going to come. I think it's going to be awesome. Remy's going to produce us more weirdly awesome podcast music. But if anybody's listening, maybe it's just the 2 or 3 different friends that we have. Which one of us sounds better in this show? Is it me or is it Remy? Because we're using different mics. Yeah, right now.
I doubt people will be able to tell, but your microphone, even though it's a dynamic microphone, is made for podcasting. So
for anybody that wants to imagine this thing is in my face. Like,
it looks like a giant penis,
like inches away from my mouth.
Yeah, you like it.
It's intimidating.
Anyways,
thank you, everybody. Our interrupting rambling has gone on for long enough.
Yeah,
we really appreciate you guys listening. I'm Nima.
I'm Remy. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.